So happy International Women in Engineering Day to everyone on this platform. My name is Monovi Asampong, and I'm really excited to be moderating this program this afternoon. Now, if you have any comments, please send it on the chat and we'll address them. Before we start, I'd like to say a few words about International Women in Engineering Day. So this day is an international awareness campaign raising the profile of women in engineering and focusing attention on the amazing career opportunities available to young women in this exciting industry. You know that in Field Ready, we love to celebrate the people that we work with. And because we do a lot of work with in the technical field, today is all about celebrating the amazing and outstanding achievements of the women engineers throughout the world, and hopefully inspiring the young people who are with us today in the world of engineering. We've got three outstanding women who are going to be on the panel today. One of them is not available, but she sent us a video, which is Lady Anne Greenstock. We've also got Engineer Adjoa Gyamara and Doseke from Nigeria. Before we start though, we would like to play a short video from Lady Anne, just giving you a few words about International Women's Day. So thank you so much for being here, and we do hope that you enjoy this session. Tom, could we play the video, please?
Hello everyone, my name is Anne Greenstock and I'm delighted to be here today to both congratulate and celebrate the amazing work that women engineers around the world are doing, particularly on this, the 9th anniversary of International Women in Engineering Day, and even more particularly you. As you doubtless know, only 16.5% of engineers globally are women, which is why it is so encouraging to know that Field Ready has so many graduate engineers doing internships or holding permanent positions in Nigeria, Ghana, and Mozambique. I have no engineering skills whatsoever. You absolutely would not want me to change an electric plug for you. But ever since my time at the United Nations in New York, I have been a passionate advocate for girls' education and advancement, a cause that was also dear to the heart of that most well-loved of Ghanaians, Kofi Annan, who was Secretary General of the United Nations during our time in New York. I believe that only by offering the same opportunities to girls as to boys will the world become a fairer and more peaceful place. And I also think of myself as a child of Africa, after my upbringing in Tanzania, where my father was a pioneering orthopedic surgeon. I focus on the peace aspect because, amongst other things, I was in New York for the first Security Council resolution on women, peace and security, sponsored by the United Kingdom. Resolution 1325 addresses the impact of war on women and the absolute importance of women's full and equal participation in conflict resolution, in peace building, in peacekeeping, and the humanitarian response to post-conflict reconstruction. Despite 1325 and subsequent resolutions, to this day you will see very little participation by women in peace processes. Women, as you all know, are generally the backbone of their families and of their communities, and without their full and equal participation in post-conflict societies, countries often return to war. So I believe that women engineers will always bring something practical to bear on a scenario that is full of rhetorical noise, but too little action. It is especially important to apply your skills in post-conflict situations to the rebuilding or creation of vibrant, sustainable projects that can multiply opportunities for economic growth. And this is why I'm so thrilled to know that there are so many successful women engineers gathering today, and why I wish you all every success in your future careers. And by the way, we could use a few of you here in the UK, although I think your own countries should always come first. I wish all of you good luck, and I wish Africa good luck in this, your century. Thank you.
Wow, what great words from a wonderful woman. I hope you all enjoyed that video as much as I did. We're just waiting for our panelists to join us. We're just having a few technical challenges, as I mentioned earlier. But again, welcome to those of you who have just joined us. Now, we can all bear witness that engineering has largely become a male-dominated industry throughout history. And even though a few women have undoubtedly contributed greatly to our world, little recognition is given to them. Now, we know that anytime we mention engineers or inventors, names like Elon Musk, Charles Simone, the inventor of Microsoft applications, Jeff Bezos come to mind first. But we also have the likes of women engineers, like Mary Anderson with her invention of a windscreen wiper. We can clear dust, water that blocks our car screens. This has somewhat saved a lot of lives from accidents, especially when driving in heavy downpour. In Ghana, we can talk about Belinda, Gifty, and Erica, the three young ladies who assembled the solar-powered electric cars locally. We can also talk about Barbara Askins, an American chemist who developed technology for improving the quality of photos, and many more women, including our panelists that we have today. Also, including young women like those of the young women we have on the Field Ready program. A statistics from UNESCO shows that an estimated 2.5 million new engineers are required in sub-Saharan Africa alone to achieve the Millennium Development Goals of improved access to clean water and sanitation. To make this possible, especially in Africa, universities need to attract all young minds to engineering. However, women only represent an estimated 12% of engineering students in Africa. So today, we choose to celebrate all these amazing women engineers, notwithstanding the courage some of you young women have in taking to pursue this profession. You would all know that the theme for this year's celebration is Inventors and Innovators. And hopefully, after listening to our inspiring panel of engineers, this will encourage and inspire all of you, whether young women or men on this program today, to continue and walk the path of an engineer courageously. We know that in the engineering world, we don't have only the women in there, but we also have the men who make it possible and who support all of us who are in the field to make sure that we're able to work properly. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you today to this International Women in Engineering Day. And I'd like to now take this opportunity to introduce our panelists that we have. Let me see whether we have them on now. Okay, I think we're still struggling to have them online, but that notwithstanding, we have a couple of people that we have who have joined in, and I'm going to put people on the spot now, but I know that we have Harrison Gibson. Harrison taught on a program that we did with the WUSC. This program that we did, we selected and trained 30 young females from technical roles who took on placements on the Field Ready program. Now, Harrison, I know that you've worked a lot with young women and even women engineers in the health and safety industry that you are. I'm going to ask Tom to give you access to join the panelists so that you can please give us your own experience of how you find women in engineering today. And if you can mention a few women that we have in Ghana, that would be helpful. Tom, is it possible to add Harrison to the group of panelists, please? Thank you. Harrison, I know I've put you on the spot, but if you can share with us a few examples of women that you know in engineering and how they've been able to maneuver themselves in this engineering world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mano, for the opportunity. Good afternoon. I'm joining this program on the field right now. I know a young lady at Gophers right now. She's been with Gophers for almost 15 years. She's by the name Sewa, Nana Sewa. She joined Gophers department at the project department as a quality control assurance personnel. And today, she's Gophers West Africa project quality engineer assurance, which is doing amazing. I hope I'm being heard, right?
Yes, we can hear you, Harrison. Thank you.
So today, Nana Sewa has worked with Gophers for 15 years now. And from quality assurance officer, now she's a quality engineer at Gophers, Gophers West Africa, where she's doing well. I know some few ladies too that they came in working as safety personnel. And today they are safety specialists in the oil and gas, like my former employer, Wayo Engineering. There are a few ladies that I've also seen them on the field working as welders, fabricators, electricians, and all that. I remember the program that we did at Tech last year. There were a few ladies that, as engineers, that they are also doing well at a company at Dobroso. Amazing young ladies and all that. So what I would say is, there's a saying that what men can do, you ladies, when they come, you do it better, and even in a complete way. I believe that the engineering is a broad field, and when we give ladies the opportunity to come on board, they can do well and do better, especially those who work with safety cautions and all that. There are so many risks that come into this engineering field and all that, but then once a lady enter engineering firm, and then you're also able to add safety to your professionalism, I think you will see engineering to be a smooth industry that can go a long way. Just like from your first, the lady who did the introduction, I'm sure that she couldn't get to the level without adding safety to whatever that she did. So ladies, welcome to the engineering industry. Once the focus is there, the will is there, I believe they can do better than what we are. Sometimes we the guys what we are doing. I would say you, Mono, you are not engineer, but then you find yourself what you are doing, you end up going to our industry. So you are engineer. It is your engineer idea that you form this platform this afternoon that we are all in there. So when we say engineer is a broad thing, it's not always about the metal works, but once a woman can sit down to engineer something in the future and it's being yielded in society, appreciate the society, we all become part of this engineering thing.
Thank you very much, Harrison. I'll ask you please just to stay on because I have a couple of questions for you later on. I see that we have Engineer Adjoa here. We also have Fred Lodo. Fred, I know that I put you on the spot, but you work at Technip, and I know that you have a lot of engineers who are there. Could you just give us a little brief on how you manage the women engineers in your organization? Thank you very much. So you can give us a brief intro on yourself, Fred, and then tell me about how you work with the women engineers in your organization at Technip. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mono. I plan on just coming in to listen today, but yeah, when I'm invited, I cannot turn it down. So I'm Fred Lodo. I'm the technical manager for Technip FMC. Generally, I mean, back to your question, generally, the ladies we work with in Technip FMC are great. I think they bring a lot of the inherent ladies attributes like good planning, multitasking, to work that we the guys can't. Their confidence is, I think, averagely higher than maybe a lot of the confidence of women in other industries. The women engineers in our industry are more because they are in a male-dominated environment, they tend to become more confident, I think, than their colleagues in other industries. So they are generally like excellent. They challenge us every time. Normally in our work, you might think that we will probably try to lower expectation or standards for them, but no, that's not the case. We try to expect of them what we expect of the guys, so they don't feel any less confident about what they are doing. So that's how we managed to keep them going. And so far, they've been like top. If you come to our industry, they are either in the top maybe 5 or probably the top engineers in our industry. Maybe the guys, most of the guys might even be trailing them. If you have some of the leads, they are some of the leads are ladies who are leading like male teams, directing, planning, and all that. As I said earlier, they generally bring their good inherent female attributes to this environment, which is very needed, like multitasking, like planning, like organizing stuff, which is what we need in the field. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fred. I have a couple of questions that I'll ask you, but we have our very own special guest, Engineer Adjoa, who has finally been able to join us. Thank you very much for joining in. Engineer Adjoa, can I ask you to introduce yourself, please? I know that you wear so many hats: the MD for Jan Group of Companies, the project manager for University of Energy and Natural Resources, and then the vice president for the Association of Women in Engineers here in Ghana. So can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself before we go into the discussion? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. And then, technology, since it's the engineering day, we have to know that engineers are there to solve problems. And one of these problems is brought about by technology. And so we had an issue and we have resolved it. And that was the need of an engineer. Anyway, just as you said, I'm Engineer Adjoa Jimba Tete Gyamara, a long name, but I'm known mainly as Adjoa Gyamara. And I like the fact that your friend was talking about multitasking. That is one of my strong forts. And so I am a project manager. I'm an engineer. I am married to one man. I have 3 lovely kids. And so I am an engineer. I am a mother. I am the managing director of our personal company, but I also work for the University of Energy and Natural Resources as their project manager. And then on top of that, I am the vice president for the Women in Engineering, the Institution of Engineering and Technology. Let me just say this. In Ghana, there are only 2 engineering institutions that have been mandated, and one is the Institution of Engineering and Technology, and we have the Ghana Institution of Engineers. And so I am the vice president for the Institution of Engineering and Technologies, Ghana. All right, and so that's just a little bit about myself. I think as we are going on, you know more.
Thank you very, very much. I see that we also now have another guest, Doseke, the managing director of OOLU in Nigeria. Doseke is a senior executive and she also wears many hats. So Doseke, could you kindly give us a little brief about yourself, and welcome to this wonderful program this afternoon. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. My name is Doseke Akporiaye. I run the OOLU business in Nigeria, and I sit on the executive council for OOLU as a group. OOLU is a renewable energy company. We try to bridge the energy gap by providing electricity to people who are at the bottom of the pyramid or in off-grid areas. We are currently in 6 countries: Nigeria, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Cameroon. And our ambition is to just make sure that people have the electricity and the energy to power their lives, power their ambitions, and just to be able to do whatever it is they want to do, provide for their families. So that's me. I don't know if there are any other additional introductions you require. Happy to do that.
I think we're all good. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining in to this program, International Women's Day in Engineering that we're celebrating today. As you're aware, in Field Ready, we love to celebrate our people. And today is an important day for us because with the programs that we run, we try and make sure that with everything that we do, we have 50% female participation throughout all of the programs that we run, just to make sure that we're encouraging and we're including all of the people that we have on ground. We just have a couple of questions that we would ask, and we'd also want you to share your own experience. So, Adjoa, I'd come to you first. You've talked about all the wonderful things that you do, but I also see that you've got so many different hats. How have you as a woman been able to go through in some of these male-dominated fields? You're an engineer, you're the managing director for this group of companies. And it's an engineering firm. How did you get to this stage? Was it easy? Did you just get up and think, I'm going to be an engineer? What made you decide to join, to take on a career as a woman in engineering?
All right, thank you. My journey to engineering is quite interesting. Personally, I won't say I'm a tomboy, but I love challenges. That is one thing about me. And so I knew I love maths. Maths is like my thing. Anything maths, I am there. And so I knew, okay, I also enjoyed science. Unlike our youngsters now who are been given the opportunity to know so much, you have the internet at a click, you get all the information you need. Back then, we were just relying on books, and there were not so much information on those. And so at the end of the day, loving maths, loving science, hating biology, I knew I was going to do something in science. What I didn't really have an idea about. So luckily I did something. I had a conflict in the initial stage with my father, who wanted me to do something in arts because I was very good. Je parle de bon français. And so it's like I already had that basis. And so it was like, so why don't I go into arts? And I'm like, no, I want to do science. And then I got to convince him and I did science. But then I got to engineer when I got to the tertiary institution, because that was per what my elective I did, I was supposed to do engineering. And that's how I got into the engineering field. But I've not regretted because, as I said, because I love challenges. It has been difficult. In my first, when I did HND, I think we had 97 boys and guys, rather. 97 guys and about 4 ladies. One stopped along the line. So we have about 3. When I was doing my degree, then I think we were about 2 ladies. And then I think about 50 guys. That's it. Masters, I did it in engineering and management. There, I think we were about 5 or 6. But I always say we're an endangered species because you seldom see us. But then one thing I liked was that I wasn't leaving the guys to do everything. I wanted to have a feel. And so when we go to the labs, I'll say I'll be the team leader. Okay. When we go out there and then we're on attachment, I'll go up on the pool and enjoy it. So what I said was, yes, there were challenges here and there. But then when you persevere, one. And secondly, when you enjoy what you are doing, you don't see the challenges because you enjoy it. And so that's how come I'm doing so many things. I'm still in a field which is endangered, but hopefully I'm getting more ladies to join. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an inspiring story. I'll come back to you. Doseke, can you tell me? Adjoa has told us about how from secondary school throughout to university, throughout to her master's, there were just a few number of women who were in her class. Again, has this been the same with you when you were, you were in education, going through your tertiary education from secondary school to university? Did you have that same challenge? And what made you persevere to still keep at it, even though you turn around and you're probably just maybe one of 3 people in the class?
So, I mean, that's a great question. And yes, the journey has been similar, in terms of you being a minority in at different levels, tertiary, secondary, even masters. But I think one thing I have to say is you must have a strong support network. So the reason I studied computer science, and the reason I chose that was because I was just curious. At that time, hearing about computers, I was wondering, that's interesting. I wonder what it's about. But, my father brought us up to believe that we can be whatever we wanted to be. So if I wanted to be an astronaut, I would have been an astronaut, right? But this was what I was interested in. And I think it's very important that if you have that support network, so even if it's not your family, you must surround yourself with people that can support and inspire you so that they don't kill that dream and that ambition within you. There was a quote that I saw that if you look around the people, if you look at the people around you and you don't feel inspired, then you're in a cage, right? And it's so important, even if your family, because some of us come from homes where our parents were not educated, but you should just make sure you're going to the library, you're going to science club, you're going to book clubs outside your area. Once you have that interest, you must build on it and you must surround yourself with people that will encourage you. So I think that support network is a great foundation because it helps you to overcome all the challenges you're going to face. And so even as we went ahead and there were as a woman, I felt I was doing something that was just natural to me. And I shared a quote with the engineers in my company today. I said, the goal is to be the best version of yourself. You are the yardstick and you are the benchmark, not anybody else. You set the standard that you want and you set the bar at the level that you want. And I think by the time you have that mindset and you ensure you surround yourself with people that can help you grow, that just make sure you're constantly thinking and growing and learning, then it makes it easier to surmount whatever difficulties or challenges. I mean, when I started my company, the field people, because we sell solar and you have to install the solar, and they were like, well, I don't want to hire women on my team. I'm like, why? They're like, because they can't do the installation. I'm like, why? They're like, oh, they have to climb the ladder. I'm like, and so, right? So again, you just have to be in an environment that encourages you. And I think we also have to educate men as well. I think sometimes we focus on just saying, oh, we're women, we can do whatever we want to do and accomplish whatever we want to do. Some of these norms, some of these cultures are inbred, right, in us, and they may not mean it to discriminate. And so constantly just educating our male counterparts and letting them know, some of these challenges and how we see these challenges, how it affects us, also makes them understand that some of the nuances and some of the things that they do, it's hindering us and not encouraging us, because some of them think they're helping us, right? In some of the things that they do, but they don't know they're stunting our growth. So that will be my experience. I've always challenged myself to have mentors, coaches, or people around me that will inspire or advise me, especially when, my dad died at 90-something years old. So in terms of technology, in terms of new things, he wasn't abreast, right? But constantly having people around you that will just make sure that they're pushing you and encouraging you to learn would be my own perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. One thing that I took from there is to be the best version of yourself. And really, as a woman in engineering, or even just doing everything that you do, whether you're in engineering or not, and it doesn't go out to only the woman, because we have various people who have joined it. We have both some of our male candidates and our female candidates who are on the platform. So it's important for the male also to understand that we're not doing this by ourselves, but it's a world where we're all together, and we need to be able to support each other and treat each other the same. So I get here that we're talking about two different scenarios here. Adjoa, you mentioned how your dad wasn't in favor of you doing engineering. And I know that there's a lot of young women out there who, when we do talk to them, they share the same concerns. They want to do a science related course. However, the support system that they have at home, and this is what Doseke was talking about, that you need to have a strong support system who would encourage you. Some of the young people that we have don't have that strong support system. And so you find that even though they enjoy doing the sciences, at a certain point, because of this negativity that they have, and people telling them, you can't do it, you're female, you're not supposed to do it, they end up dropping it. How were you able to go past it and look past what your dad was saying for you to move on to the sciences, but you still persevered? How were you able to manage it? If you can just share a few words for us so that in case we have some of our candidates who are online, they know how to manage it, because some of them have finished university, but they're still facing these same challenges.
Thank you. I think that personally, one thing I do is that when I set myself on a course, nothing takes me away from the course. And so what I did was to let my father understand the passion I had. Okay. One thing we have realized as women in engineering in the institution, and which we are trying to bridge, is the education gap. Okay. And just as my sister Doseke said, it is important that people understand what engineering is. The fact is that we have limited engineering to, say, sometimes even mechanical, where people, when you talk about engineering, they are looking at the mechanics at a certain area and the way they dress up. And so that is one thing. Stereotyping is another. The problem is also that people have stereotyped engineering to be a male course. And so when you're a woman and you are going in there, they see it to be something else. But the truth of the matter is that when we're talking about engineering, we are talking about problem solvers. And the fields of engineering are so diverse, it will surprise you. At every point in time, somebody somewhere needs an engineer to do something for him. The computer you are using was made by an engineer. The MRI machine that is being used to check at the hospital was made by an engineer, and sometimes manned by an engineer. And so when we are able to let people know the relevance of the work we are doing, it will change the mindsets, it will change the paradigm, it will change the story. And so it is about, I am somebody, you can't put me down. I get so passionate and I have to carry you along. I won't leave you behind. So by the end of the day, my father is my one. And when he calls now, he will say, how is my engineer doing? You'll be surprised because I got that passion and I let that passion being carried out. Doseke also said one thing. You should also have a backing from somewhere. You can't do everything yourself. And so sometimes you can even have, we are thinking of mentorship now, where we are able to mentor young ones who want to go in there. So maybe you might not be able to share your dream, but I, as an engineer in the field, will be able to speak to the issue better to your parents so that we are able to get to where we want to get to. And so it should not be about you and you alone. And above all, I always say, the difference between the extraordinary and the ordinary is that you have to go the extra mile. You can't just do something and keep your hands by yourself and say that you are going to achieve something. Be extraordinary. And so when you're extraordinary, you are going to be looked for wherever you find yourself. And so let whoever is bringing you down know that you are extraordinary. When you carry that passion, when you get the support from both external and internal, it cannot be you alone. And then you become extraordinary so that they see that when they are giving you that tool, the tool of engineering, the tool of problem solving, then you become so relevant. Now we are talking about STEM, we are talking about the fact that you have to be entrepreneurs. The best thing that you can do is to be an engineer, whereby you'll be able to bring out, my sister is the MD in her own company. I am the MD in my own, I am using engineering to do that. And so if you are talking about entrepreneurship, if you want to be independent in this time where the job market is so limited, then you have to go somewhere where you become relevant. And that's problem solving. And that's engineering.
Thank you so much.
To add
yes.
something quickly to what Adjoa said. And in Nigeria, and I'm sure it's in most countries, there is something called a Society of Petroleum Engineers. And they always have a student program. They always have a student program. And so it's so important that you find out about these kinds of societies and join early. They have a university chapter. They also institute government parastatal. So for example, for renewable energy, the REA, they run programs for women in STEM. And they actually give scholarships. So it's important that as a woman, as an engineer, you go out and find out where these organizations, you have to do your own parts as well. Where these organizations, where these scholarships, where these sponsorships, and apply for them. Don't think, oh, well, you know, it's you have to know someone to get it. Just apply. The person that is guaranteed not to win a beauty contest is the person that did not make the application. So you may think you're more beautiful than the person that wins, but you didn't apply, right? So if you apply, you know, you at least do your own part. And they're constantly looking for women. For programs abroad, they're constantly looking for women to join STEM. I know that during the International Women's Day, there was a whole section on STEM as well. You know, so I think if for example, you're not getting the support from your family or your inner group, you know, there are societies that you can join, there are programs you can find out, they run internships, and that can be one way as well that you can just get, you know, gingered up in pursuing the goal that you have. I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hear passion, I hear optimism, I hear, you know, all sorts of wonderful words encouraging us to keep going. We have a question on the platform though. It says, did you ever have to make decisions regarding which engineering field to pursue? And if yes, what factors did you consider? Any of you can answer. So did you ever have to make decisions regarding which engineering field? I mean, both of you have said you knew that you wanted to be in the sciences, you wanted to be in engineering. So did you ever have to make decisions regarding what field?
So yes, I mean, I think when I was for computer science, I had the option of doing computer engineering, doing computer science and mathematics, computer science and physics. One of the reasons I chose my course was because in as much as I was curious, I also liked human beings and I liked interacting with human beings. And I wanted to do something that would allow me to do that. Now, I know for engineering like mechanical, chemical, and electrical, you know, there are other factors you would consider. But for me personally, I just looked at what I liked as a person, what I enjoyed as a person, you know, coupled with the fact that I like solving problems, I like building things, and I like, you know, creating. So that's why I went that route. But I think and Adjoa can give some more context with that. There are probably more specific things that you would consider for like electrical, mechanical. For example, someone that is doing mechanical engineering, you must just like structures, right? You must like structure, order, building. An electrical engineer doesn't necessarily have to do that. They just need to understand, you know, the basics of, you know, positive, negative, creating and joining and stuff like that. I'm not an engineer in that regard, but that was my own consideration. Thank you.
I think, Doseke, you've said it. You have to do something you enjoy, okay? Even when you come to the field of electrical engineering, you can talk about telecommunication, you can talk about electrical machines, you can talk about medical machines. And so it is so diverse. But at the end of the day, I always talk about relevance. You should be relevant wherever you find yourself. And so for my young ones, what I would say is that the internet is there. You have to know what are the new emerging trends Okay, engineering, it's now even moving to food engineering and all the others. Are you getting it? And so you have to take into consideration your interest. That is one. And then you have also to take the fact that you have to do something in which you will become relevant. You are not relevant, then forget it. And then you also have to do something you will enjoy. So you have to take all those things into consideration. Yes, I want to do engineering. Yes, there are so many 1,001 fields in engineering, but then which one will I do that whenever I wake up in the morning, I look forward to going to? I started with electrical engineering, but then presently I'm doing project management and I'm doing engineering project management actually, because I realized that yes, there are projects now, and then we have to be able to manage them properly. With my background in engineering, I'm able to understand the language of the engineer. But in the same way, there are stakeholders in the project who need to be communicated to and know their needs. The client has a need. It has to be embedded in the project. So at the end of the day, I am using my engineering background. I'm using my project management background. I'm bringing it together to bring satisfaction. And I am happy when I know that I am part of the story of this project. And not just that the project is being done, but that the project was relevant for the stakeholders. And so at the end of the day, it's not just about, I want to be an engineer. No, that's not it. It is about what will I do that will make me look forward every morning. I am so happy when I get very tired. I wake up in the morning. When I go to Sunyani, I have to go to various places, check on various projects, have various meetings. But then at the end of the day, I am satisfied. I am happy because I have done what I love. So when you are taking into consideration the field is not enough. It is how you will enjoy what you are doing and the relevance of what you are doing. So you have to balance all of this. My daughter will tell you, Mommy, must you go? But sometimes if you don't go, you will not be able to also make it in life. And so you always have to strike a balance. That's it.
Thank you very, very much. Wow, that was very, very inspiring. You need to be passionate. Again, it's about being passionate no matter what field that you choose. You need to ensure that you enjoy exactly what you're doing and where you are. Because if you don't enjoy it, you get bored. And at the end of the day, you end up dropping out and you don't continue. We really don't want that to happen. We have a few more minutes. But again, today we're celebrating all of you. We're celebrating all the women in engineering. Adjoa, I know that you're the vice president of the Association for Women Engineers in Ghana. If we have any of the young women who are interested in joining in, how do they join in?
I think that is very easy. We are going around the various tertiary institutions to reach out to the young ones so that they become students, engineers. Are you getting it? So they become part of the association via that. We also have a website where you can go, IET Ghana, www.iet Ghana, where you can go in there, you fill the form, you are going to have, if you have completed engineering, then you are going to write an examination and then you are going to be part of the body. That's the engineering body. But apart from that, I told you, as women in engineering, what we are trying to do now is this. We realize that when the girl is in the senior high school, she has already made up her mind. She's doing science, she's doing art, she's doing whatever. So now our target is going to the junior high and the upper primaries, having programs, mentorship programs with them, so that we incite the interest at a younger age. When they get to the stage where they have to choose their subject, because engineering, you cannot just do anything at all. You have specific subjects that you have to go into. And so when we get them at that stage, so we've done a program in Accra, we are yet to do one in Kumasi, and then about 4 different regions, trying to bring young girls from the upper primary and then the junior high together informing them, educating them about engineering, trying to inject some incitement about engineering to them so that when they get to the tertiary, they will do engineering. Once we already have the rapport with them, because the mentorship is an ongoing thing, then once they get to the tertiary, we continue and then we've got to go. Tertiary, we are not going to get the single numbers, 1 against 100, 2 against thousands, no. We want to get them to really come on board. Our gentleman said something. Women are managers. Women are multitasked. And so when we come into the problem-solving arena, which is engineering, you can imagine how effective we are going to be. And you can imagine the impact we are going to have on our society. And so it's not a small thing. It's a revolution. It has started. And so just get on board and we all go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've got another question, which is the last question before we round up. It says, a general question to our panelists. Considering the popular and trending request of any employer seeking for young engineers to employ, that they need someone with 5 years experience, what do we do to tackle this challenge, getting a job in the labor market as young engineers who are yet to gain this experience in engineering? Doseke.
So I'm a big believer of internships and apprenticeships, right from primary school. You know, my parents used to say, vacation, you're going to work. You're going to go to your dad's office or you're going to go somewhere and do some work. So I think it's something that we don't typically value. In America, for example, is such a big deal. Because what you find is the people that take you on for internships every year while you're in college are more likely to employ you once you graduate. So I think internships and apprenticeship programs are so critical. And even when they say they can't pay you, I would say still go for the training, still participate. Because the reality is the company will probably give you something to cover your transport and your feeding, even if they don't give you a stipend. So that is definitely one way. And if every long vacation and short vacation, you do an internship, by the time you're graduating, you have at least 2 to 3 years of work experience. And again, like I said, it doesn't, the cost of the company having to get a fresh person to train them on their processes, to train them on their culture, to train them on what it means to hire someone new. They're going to say, well, you know, this guy or this lady has been interning with me for 2 years. Why don't I bring them on and put them on a program than hiring someone afresh? So I think that is definitely one way, you know, and even if you look at the Field Ready program that we're doing now, my company has taken on some of the field engineers. The reality
I think we've lost her there. Adjoa, do you have anything to say on that question? I think we have Harrison who also says he has something to say. Adjoa, do you have something to say based on that question that we had?
Yeah, I think that's what Doseke has said. We should think about internship, you should think about attachments, and then you should think about doing your best wherever you find yourself. It's not just about you being with the internship or with the company. Just as Doseke said, at the end of the day, if you go in there and you are not pulling your weight, even if there is a vacancy, you will not be picked. And so, yes, you have to get the experience. Let's not look at, you see, our youngsters of today want to get to the standard I have gotten to. I've been working for more than 20 years. You cannot be at par with me, but you can start from somewhere. And so, just as you said, don't look so much at the money at the initial stage. Look so much more at the experience, because the experience that is going to get you where you want to be. And when you get the experience, now it doesn't matter where you find yourself, you are going to make it. And so at the initial stage, think about impacting wherever you find yourself. Be relevant wherever you find yourself, so that when you are not there, that gap should be felt if A was to be here, this wouldn't, because if you are relevant in the workplace, just as Doseke said, that's when there is space or vacancy, they're going to think about you. But if you come to the workplace and you are not pulling your weight, then it doesn't matter what the opportunity is giving you, you are not going to make it. So just take as many opportunities that come your way, and then make sure that your impact is felt.
Thank you very much. Doseke, I'm so sorry. I think you were saying something and we got cut off. Did you want to just wrap it up quickly?
No, that's fine. I said
Okay.
all it is. I just iterate what Adjoa said. You know, it's not about getting the internship. It's about making yourself, your impact, your presence felt, and putting in your best. You know, when you do get into those organizations, because people will notice. And even though people think there's a lot of nepotism, the reality is any manager or anybody in a leadership position wants people that can deliver results, because it affects their bottom line. So yes, there may be nepotism or bias in one form or the other, but no one is going to take someone that is not going to add value or grow their business or profitability just because they want to keep the person or they like the person. It doesn't happen. No.
Thank you very much. I think on that note, it just really tells us that with everything that you do, you just need to be persistent and work hard. People are not going to take you just because of who you are, but it's about the value added that you're going to give to the company. So all too soon, we've come to the end of our program. It's been amazing having the both of you. I just want to ask you, do you have any closing remarks? I'll give you both a few minutes just to, tell us your thoughts about International Women's Day, and just give us a few words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our candidates on this platform for, the guests that we have today in celebrating this wonderful day. Adjoa, do you have something to say to us before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think we've said it all. It is important that we celebrate this day, because this day is creating awareness. Back in the 90s, we didn't have that. Back in the early 2000s, we didn't have that. Why is the UN now working on having special days? Is to create awareness. And if we are creating awareness, we create awareness of things that are relevant, things that are important. And so a woman engineer is very important for the nation, for the society. And so to me, I have always advocated for women interested in engineering to come on board. There's nothing easy under the surface of the earth. Don't listen to people who say it is a difficult subject. There's nothing that is easy. Even in cooking, you get burnt. So that tells you that if you don't put in an effort, you're not going to make it. And we are now in an era where you have to work professionally. You also have to put your back and do something so that you can put something on the table. And so engineers are relevant. Engineers are important. That is why we are celebrating women engineers today. Join up in the celebration, and God will bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adjoa. Doseke, over to you.
So I'm going to steal something that my niece is an engineer, and she wants to study physics. I don't know why, but hey, that's a separate conversation. I'm going to steal something she said. She presented at the last International Women's Day in Nigeria, and she said if the population of women on Earth is about 50%, and like Adjoa said, there's engineering in everything you do, in design, in building. You cannot ignore that amount. You cannot ignore that number, because it means that if you are not there, right, the design for products are not going to be done by you. The design for engineering, medical equipment that capture your needs as a woman are not going to be done by you. It means the technology that suits you as a woman are not going to be done by you, because 50% of the world's population are women. So even if you want to look at it purely from an unbiased and impartial perspective, you must be represented. Otherwise, you're going to be relying on other people to design products and solutions that they think will suit you as a woman. And that's what I would just like to end with, that you must take your place at the table, not for any other reason, but just to ensure that your views, your perspectives, your needs are being met. Otherwise, no one is going to fight that battle for you except you are there. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for all of those words of wisdom. Let us take a seat at that table. Let us break those glass ceilings. Let us take the initiative in anything that we do. Perseverance in everything that you do as well. Most importantly, enjoy what you do despite all the challenges. There will always be challenges with whatever you set out to do, but enjoy it so that when the challenges come, it won't disappoint you and you won't think of giving up. Be the best version of yourself. Be relevant in whatever field you find yourself in, and build on your interest. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for celebrating this International Women's Day of Engineering with us at Field Ready. We have our website on board on the chat. In the chat space is www.getfieldready.com. We've got a brand new website, so please log on, register for any of our webinars that we're going to be doing. We hold these webinars I think once every month, so please log on. And Adjoa and Doseke, thank you so much. Today we're celebrating women like you all over the world. Women like us, women that we have on this platform on our candidate list in Field Ready. We can't thank you enough for your time, for your words of wisdom. And we will definitely come back to you if we have any questions from our young people on the platform. Apart from that, from Field Ready, the rest of the team, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the day. And please celebrate all the women that you have on your various platforms as well. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
You
Thank
too.
you for the opportunity too.
Bye.
Bye.